So I've had the ROG Ally for about a year now, and I figured it's about time I give it an in-depth review, since the reason I bought it was because I was going on a trip last year, and now I'm going on another trip again. So I'm going to tell you why I got the ROG Ally and why you might want to pick up one for yourself, or why you might not. Around this time last year, I was going on a trip to California and I wanted to take something with me that could do portable, current-gen gaming without having to rebuy a bunch of games. The Steam Deck was my first choice, but since my trip was coming up in a few weeks, I wasn't going to be able to order the Steam Deck in time. But the ROG Ally was fresh in stores, and I was hearing about how competitive it was with the Steam Deck. Unfortunately, I didn't know about the Steam Deck OLED on the horizon, but like I said, I wanted something in time for the trip. So the ROG Ally was the choice I made. It was a more powerful machine with a faster display, and you get the benefits as well as the negatives of running Windows. I already owned a PC, so I had some games, but my primary platform was Xbox, and fortunately, Xbox had my back. I would imagine most of you know about Game Pass Ultimate, where you can play games from Game Pass on PC and console. This opened up a ton of options and games for me to play, but there was also another feature that a lot of people don't know about. That feature is Xbox Play Anywhere. For select titles on Xbox, there is a feature called Play Anywhere, where if you purchase that game once, you get a free console/PC version with it, and as a bonus, your saves often transfer between systems. So now my games problem was solved, and all that was left to do was solve the storage issue. With many games not needing an SSD to function yet, I figured I would purchase an SD card. Cheap mass storage, what could go wrong? Since the ROG Ally was in its infancy, the reviews were still coming out, and some people were reporting faulty SD card issues, and some were allegedly cooking the SD cards. But before I left for my trip, I made sure that everything was working fine. As fate would have it, at cruising altitude my SD card would be cooked. Here it is. While certainly upsetting, there wasn't a thing I could do about it. I was 1,000 miles away from home, and the Ally was still functional, but now my choices for games were limited. I tinkered with the SD card for a bit, but ultimately found myself watching reviews of the ROG Ally, where I discovered people with similar issues. So for the rest of my trip, I stuck to playing the same games over and over again, which was pretty much Halo, Doom, Spider-Man, Battlefront 2, and Fallout. Despite the issues I encountered, I continued to see the potential of the Ally. Having the PC-like experience in the palms of your hand was a cool feeling, so I decided to make some upgrades when I got back home. If you're going to commit yourself to a handheld device like this, you will quickly find out that it isn't cheap. The Z1 Extreme, which is the model I bought, was $700, which is no small price, so keep that in mind if you do what I did to my Ally. The next thing I did was purchase a 2TB SSD. Best Buy was having a deal at the time, so I think I got it for just under $300. Then I got a protective shell, as well as a carrying case, which was around $50. And finally, I got a proper HDMI dock. Another benefit to buying a handheld PC is the ability to use it on a TV or monitor. A basic USB-C adapter won't cut it because you will lose power faster than you can charge it. I also bought the name brand charger for the Ally, which allows me to use it at its max power level and charge properly. That will run you a solid $65. After that, you will have the ultimate handheld. Really though, the most important thing you should upgrade is the SSD, and then grab a carrying case. The SSD is simple to replace, and the process to restore the Ally is pretty straightforward.
I haven't been safe since I found you. I found you, remember? You were out there on your own, and you'd still be out there if it wasn't for me. I thought I was going home.
There won't be a home if we don't stop the banished.
You keep saying that. We're outgunned, outnumbered. I know I saw Condors over there. I'm going to dig through them and find one with a working sleep space drive. And when you're done with this war, we'll get away from here. Far away.
Wait here.
Please. Let me see what I can find.
Cannons first. When I get back, we can look. Together.
Okay, big guy.
Upon using the Ally, you will soon discover that touchscreen Windows is a pain in the ass. To keep things as simple as possible, I would recommend using the Armory Crate app, which has its own built-in button on the device. This will give you access to your games and game launchers. Once you have settled in, you will then have to do the usual settings tweaks to get games running in a stable environment. The most important thing you have to worry about is the battery. The more power you add, the more stable your games are, but the shorter your time for playing is. The less power you use, the more time you get, but the lower frame rates are a problem. I found myself constantly using the 15-watt mode as an in-between for stability and time, and if you don't mind an FPS cap, you can get a more stable performance for most games. I don't recommend it for FPS games like Doom or Halo, but it's an option and is my preference for single-player games. Most of the time your games will be running at low settings, but if your device is plugged in properly, you can easily achieve over 60 FPS in some titles. If you find yourself playing 7th gen games like Fallout 3 or New Vegas, or even the original Doom, you should have no problem playing them at 10 watts. Of course, another option I find myself doing is game streaming. I get it. Why would you pay $700 for a game streaming device if you have a device that can natively play them? And rightfully so. You absolutely should not buy this device if you just want to stream games. If you wanted to do that, you could just Bluetooth a controller to your phone. But when you are home and have a dedicated console or PC, why not save battery by putting your Ally in 10-watt mode and then stream your games to it? You get a nice device to play on, and you get a much longer lasting battery life. On a side note, I also got these AR glasses. They provide a OLED screen that you can actually see in the glasses. They provide this little cover that blacks it out completely, or you can take this little cover off and you can adjust the brightness to however you want and still see through them. It's a little distracting, but if you're in college like I am and your professor is just ranting on about some nonsense, I get it, it's college. These make a really handy tool for either typing up notes or, like what I do, gaming on them. It's really nice, really cool, and they make a great pairing for a Steam Deck or an ROG Ally. So, should you buy the ROG Ally? The answer is yes, if you're an Xbox gamer, or if your games are spread out through various launchers and marketplaces. For me, since I mainly play on Xbox, this was a real lifesaver as it offers native Game Pass PC support and features Xbox Play Anywhere. There's also the added benefit of knowing that this thing runs Windows, so any game you want to throw at it, it'll run. Whereas the Steam Deck, you have to go through the vetted games that are on the Steam Deck, and there is no native Game Pass PC support. So would I recommend buying this current model of ROG Ally? Well, I would say no, even if you are an Xbox player. If this were a year ago, I would have said yes, but here's the problem. Asus is coming out with the new ROG Ally X, and hopefully that version irons out some of the issues that I personally had with this version of the ROG Ally. If you already have an existing ROG Ally, there isn't really a whole lot of reason to upgrade unless you just love testing out new devices, but right now, if you're looking for a device that can play Xbox games, the new model of the ROG Ally seems like the way to go. I haven't tested it yet, so I can't tell you that. But if you don't mind going and playing PC games or rebuying PC games, the Steam Deck OLED is probably the safest bet. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what kind of handheld device you have, if you have a Nintendo Switch, if you have a ROG Ally, or even a Steam Deck, or maybe you just stream your games to your phone. Let me know. I'm interested to see how people are playing. Have a good one.